What's up, YouTube? It's Jono here. So I finally got first place at the locals that I go to. It's Top Deck ran by Nim Nim, and I won with Magistus, pure Magistus to be specific. Now I've been playing this deck for quite a while. I started off getting last place. Then, I switched some other decks, and then I went back to Magistus, and then I got third place, and then finally got the first place at my locals, and it was tough. I had to think really hard about this deck and how to perfect it and how to make it, competitively viable. And, the decks that I went against weren't like, random rogue decks or anything. They were pretty meta decks. The two decks that I went against was Drytron and Scrap Dinos. So, it was pretty tough. I ended up losing game one against Drytrons and then winning the next two. And then against the Scrap Dinos, I won game one, lost game two, won game three. So I'm just gonna kind of go right into it and show you guys what the winning deck was, some of my thoughts on the deck, and changes that I'm probably gonna be making. Most of it's gonna be on the side deck versus anything else, but we'll kind of jump right in. All right, so to start off, we have three Zororas. I basically run the full Magistus package. I run three Zororas, I run three Endymions, I run three Rilionas, and I run three Crowleys. All of these are extremely necessary for the deck. The deck is just trying to extend. It's always trying to extend, and Crowley is amazing because it can change its attribute, and with the new Exceed that came out in Lightning Overdrive, it's even better now. The main issue that you'd face is if you have like a Rilliona and a Crowley, or if you have like double Crowleys, because you're just stuck making like a rank 4. But now that you have the new Rilliona the Wondrous Magistus Witch Wardrobe Exceed, you're able to actually extend further, and you're able to do a lot more. The rest of them is pretty self-explanatory. You have the Zora, which is the main tuner. Then you have Endymion, which both Zora and Endymion equipped from the extra deck. So that's how you get some of the monsters in grave, as well as getting your plays off, especially equipping it with Artemis and then searching with Artemis. Rilliona is the searcher, and then you have Crowley. So that goes for the Magistus and basically the main monsters that you're going to be using for the whole deck. Then for my hand traps, I have three Effect Failure. Now, this is a very special card that I think is really critical to this deck. I run the Halka Fibrax play, and one is this has Spellcaster synergy with the deck, so you're able to discard it with Crowley and special summon it. Special summon Crowley if you're able to, or if you need it. And the Effect Veiler obviously is just a good hand trap, especially this format where you're looking at a lot of effect negation on the field. So I'm pretty happy about just being able to continue to use Effect Veiler in the way it is. And, worst case scenario, you have a monster on board, you can actually just hard normal summon Effect Veiler, and then go into Hulk, or even normal summon Effect Veiler, and then link it off for Artemis if you need a Magistus name on field. The other hand traps that I play is 3 Droll and Lockbird. This is really just prepping for the Drytron matchup. It's pretty tough, so Droll and Lockbird as a main deck is really good in this deck, especially it being also a spellcaster, so it has that sort of synergy as well. So that is all the monsters for the deck. Basically pretty simple. You have your Magistus lineup, and then you have a few hand traps. I run now for the spells. I run let's start with the more draw and searchers. I have 3 Pot of Desires. This is just great. You run basically 3 of everything in your deck, so Pot of Desires is perfect because you don't really lose any consistency for the deck, and you get that extra draw power, and I think that's the hardest thing, is trying to make Magistus good while not sacrificing the limited space you have in the extra deck. Then as for the searchers, I primarily use the Endymion monster to kind of start plays. It gets me into Bahamut Shark, into the totally awesome play, and now it allows me to get into the Rilliona, the Wondrous Magistus which wardrobe play, which was not available prior. So Endymion was like not as strong because it was only focused on the Bahamut Shark totally awesome play. But now that it actually has more variety, this becomes even stronger. So then to go into the Magistus spells, we have 3 Vitras. I was debating if I wanted to do 2 Vitras and a Monster Reborn, but I think the 3 Vitras is way more important when you're running Desires, and you don't want to Desire off 2 Vitras and then not be able to search for that last Vitra. I found myself searching almost all 3 of the Vitras with Riliona multiple times, so I definitely think that if you were to choose, I'd rather have the 3 Vitras which are all searchable through Riliona than to have it through Monster Reborn. The other really good card and the extender is Trimagistus. This is the thing that just helps you extend. You know, your normal summon gets ashed or your normal summon gets like, you know, messed up. Trimagistus is there for the save. And the best part is it has an effect that nobody really knows is if you have a Magistus monster that's equipped with a Magistus equip card or whatever, then it can't be destroyed by battle once. So that can actually make a big difference when you're looking at like, you know, making sure you have enough life points and just surviving another turn. And then finally, I just play that one Magistus Invocation. I don't rely too much on the fusion. I might test more to see if I want to incorporate more of the Magistus Invocation. It's kind of there if I want to have it, but I really don't rely on it. If it gets Pot of Desired, it's not a big deal either. So that's just kind of my Magistus spell lineup. Then your typical other spells, I have 2 Cosmic Cyclones. This is specifically for Sky Strikers now that's coming back, as well as just kind of being a little bit more active as a spell. I was thinking about running Dark Really No Mores previously, and it just wasn't as consistent, and I'd rather have something more active that I can play and set and have them both active, and it can also just help get rid of like, you know, random stuff like Mystic Mine and all the other stuff. And the last one is Caught by the Grave. Pretty self-explanatory. Helps, especially when you're getting hand trapped, and Caught by the Grave really helps that. So that's all for the spells. We'll move on to the traps, and I think this is one of the strongest traps right now is Imperm. So Infinite Impermanence, again, it helps for me. I have 3 effect failures, 3 Infinite Impermanence. It's just to stop as much as you can on field. So having 3 Imperms is really great, and it's even stronger this format. And then we have 3 Solemn Strikes. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's just too good not to run. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the extra deck. Now, you know, the extra deck is really tough because you have such limited space, and the Magistus extra deck is so critical because that's what you're using to equip. So to start off, you know, you have your Searchers, you have your 2 Artemis. I was going to run 3, but just 3 is just too much. Artemis is your main Searcher that you use with Endymion and Zorora, and the thing that pairs well is that this is just a toolbox deck. So the reason why I love it is these are treated as equipped spell cards, so your opponent can't like negate it if they're trying to negate a monster effect. So that's really helpful. The other Magistus cards that I run is Nina Ruru, the Magistus Glass Goddess. Now, again, toolbox, great. It acts almost like a Shadal Dragon where you're just popping, your opponent's spell or trap card. So that really helps. Then you have Varam. Now, I used to run this at 1, just because it used to be just a really bad card when you're looking at equipping. And if you're looking at Zorora, your main play is to go into Borload Savage Dragon, and you know that was kind of your opening play. You never really want to go into Varam because it's too weak. But now that you have the extender with the new Riliona, the Wondrous Magistus Witch Wardrobe, you're actually able to get Varam very, very consistently, and it's helping just extend, get more monsters in grave, get more monsters out on the field, and it gets your opponent out of their element, because they have to then think about, hey, if I destroy this, all of my cards that are face up are going to get destroyed. Now that's really tough, so they have to play around it. They have to think differently than they would have normally, because if they like kind of overextend and then they didn't realize the Varam effect, then they're basically, you know, out of luck. So the other cards that I run is the Aureliana, the Magistus, the Wondrous Magistus Witch Wardrobe. And the best part is, this just came out in Lightning Overdrive. Again, thought it was a really bad card because it locks you into the Magistus extra deck. But as a turn 1, getting out Varam more consistently and having something as a follow-up if they can't get rid of this, has 2800 defense. This is not something to think lightly of. So this really helps get the Varam going, and I'm debating on running like Necrofusion and doing more stuff with the Mysterion, the Dragon Crown card, but I'll explain that when I go over my side deck. Otherwise, the last that I run from the Magistus is Iwis. Again, I run one Magistus Invocation. It's not really that important in my deck, and you know, most of the time I'll probably use this as an equipped anyways, just an equipped name. However, there are a lot of times where I want to search for Magistus Invocation to get this and to steal the opponent's monster, which I actually did in the locals, which ended up winning me the game. So that's all of the Magistus extra deck monsters that I play. The other ones that I play are more standard ones. So you have Zorora bringing out Borload Savage Dragon, and then you have the Endymion bringing out the Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome. Again, such a good lineup for negates, and you know, it's just too good. Now with Totally Awesome and Bahamut Shark, I'll go into Zeus pretty consistently. So I'll bring out Totally Awesome, I'll attack, and then I'll overlay whatever I have with Bahamut Shark with Zeus, and you know, have that extra protection. So that's all of the exceeds, and then when it goes to the links, this is what I had earlier, which is Hulk Fibrax, Selene, and Axis Code Talker. Again, just pushes for that damage, pushes for game, clears the board. It's just such a good lineup. All right. Moving on to the side deck. Now, I didn't get to use as much as I would have hoped for the side deck. I might change this up a lot, actually. But I'll kind of start off. So, I'll start off with the Shadal package. Because I have Rilliona, and people typically play Magistus, at least Rilliona, with the Shadal engine, I do run 3 Shadal Fusion. This entire side deck is geared towards going second. Because I struggle a lot when I'm going second, and you know, you have to find ways to bait out multiple things, or at least prevent your opponent from doing more follow-ups. So I run 3 Shadal Fusion with the Dragon and Aerial. Now the Aerial is really huge because I have no way of really banishing my opponent's graveyards, and that is critical for some decks. So keeping Aerial, and then Shadal Dragon is just another way to you know, plus. And then as for the fusions that I run with this, I run the Construct, and then run the Ad Cologne. Again, I'm going second using this, so Winda's not going to help if they already have the established board, which is why I use Ad Cologne for the effect negation, and then Shadal Construct, obviously for pushing the last name, and for it to automatically destroy the monster. Now, so that's all the Shadal side deck. I'm then playing 3 Dark Ruler No More. Now, this is, again, pretty self-explanatory. You know, there's going to be a lot of boards that you go against that are like Dragoon, multiple negates, and you just need a way to get rid of that board. So Dark Ruler No More is a great way of getting around it. And then, finally, I run 3 Super Polymerization. I just love getting rid of things that your opponent can't react to. Super Poly is a great way to do so. And then I run the targets for Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. I was thinking about running Mud Dragon of the Swamp. However, I still got to figure out how I want to incorporate that. Otherwise, I'm testing out Mysterion, the Dragon Crown. The reason why I'm playing this is because most of the time you're getting out Rilliona, the Wondrous Magistus Witch Wardrobe, and Varam. And this is a Spellcaster and Dragon, which fits the criteria for Mysterion, the Dragon Crown. So, again, you can have this on the field, your opponent tries to do something, then you chain Super Poly, then Mysterion, and then you have basically like almost like a live evenly matched for your opponent's monsters, which is great. Otherwise, something I mentioned earlier as well was figuring out if I wanted to run Necrofusion, because these are constantly, played together. Also gets on the grave a lot, so if I have a set Necrofusion, boom, I can banish this, go into Mysterion, and then, do more plays from there. All right, so that was basically the that was the deck. I spent so long trying to figure out how this deck can be good and where I can make changes to make it meta, and I think I've gotten a pretty good golden ratio for this. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down. Let me know if you want to see more of this. I'm not giving up on Magistus. I'm going to keep playing it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment, like, and subscribe. Catch you guys later. Peace.